Hello everyone, I'm Ashley and welcome back to my channel. Today I have 6 young adult science fiction books to recommend to you, so let's get started. First up, we have Heart Like Iron by Ashley Poston. This is a science fiction Anastasia retelling, and Anastasia retellings are one of my favorite type of retellings. So as soon as this came out, I got a copy of it and I absolutely love it. So this is about Anna, who was found kind of just like floating through space by this crew. She has no memory of her life, and she's found with this metal, a sentient android called DO9. And this type of android is now illegal, and he is starting to kind of go on the fritz. Like, some things are wrong with him. So they end up having to go find this lost ship to find the answers in order to save him. And while they're on this little adventure, they run into an Iron Blood, and he also wants to find the ship, and they end up becoming fugitives together. This is a duology, and it is so good. I absolutely love it. I've actually read this twice, this duology. It's just very sci-fi, and it's just so much fun, and I loved seeing the relationship between Anna and DO9 and the relationship that happens between Anna and the Iron Blood. And it's like any Anastasia retelling, it's really fun to see Anastasia Anna in this case, start to learn who she is, what her past is, and what she could be in the future. And she learns her potential, and it's a great read, and I highly recommend it. Next, we have this very well-known and very well-loved book, Scythe by Neil Schusterman. This is a futuristic world where you really don't die. Like, there's a cure for everything. You can basically jump off a building and still survive. And to keep the population under control, there are scythes, and they glean people, which means they kill people. And in this book, Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice scythes. So they have the potential to get this as their new job. And there's a lot more to it, and they kind of uncover this whole conspiracy within the scythe group, council. I think it's called a council. It is a great trilogy. There's even a short story collection out now, and I actually got an e-arc of that, and I was able to read it ahead of time, and it is really good. This book, I devoured this book. This is another book that I managed to convince my brother to read, and he also loved this trilogy. So if you like futuristic, it's like dystopian, but it's also utopia. It's a utopia disguised, but it's really dystopian. I highly suggest this. It's a quick read. It's action filled. So good. Next up, we have one that is not as well known. It's Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. This is the Owl Crate edition. I read this right away when I got it from Owl Crate because it just sounded so interesting. So Andra here, she is in like one of those cryogenic sleeps, and she's with her family, her friends, and everything. They're supposed to wake up in 100 years on a new planet, terraform it, and start a new life. Instead, she wakes up 1,000 years later in a dark cave and discovers that all her friends and family are dead. And the people of this planet that she's on basically think she's a goddess, and they are trying to worship her. And she just wants to know what happened to her family. And there is also Zaid, who is an exiled bastard prince of this planet, and the goddess, she's called the Goddess in the Coffin. The Goddess in the Coffin was stolen from the castle, and he wants her to help him regain his throne. And so they kind of have an alliance going on, and it's about her discovering what happened and discovering herself along the way as well. This is a really great book. I know there's a sequel out. I still have to get it. This is a duology that is on my priority list to finish this year because I need to. It was so good. I remember loving it. I either gave it 4 out or 5 stars. Can't remember. But it was just such a fun adventure. I loved reading about Andra, and she really has to go on a journey to find out who she is and what she's going to do with her life now that her entire plan was thrown off course. So, highly recommend this one. Next up, I have another Anastasia retelling. This is Lifelike by Jay Kristoff, and this is about Eve, who kind of lives in a wasteland type area, very poor, has to scavenge for everything, and her friend Lemon Fresh like to fight robots to get some money, and she is also part robot, like she has like a mechanical eye area right here because of an accident she had that caused her to forget all of her memories before a certain point. So this is about her and this lifelikes are these special AI cyborg android type things that have a mind of their own that were created by, I'm trying to remember if they're called the Romanov family, basically like the equivalent of the Romanov family, and they were supposed to be obedient and follow the 3 rules of androids and cyborgs, but they managed to get a will of their own and rebel and kill the entire Romanov family. So Ezekiel, the lifelike in this, comes and finds Eve, starts calling her Anna, and says that he needs to protect her and all these things. And there's also a guy in a trench coat after them, and it's a lot, there's a lot deeper plot than I'm describing here because it's a very hard book to describe. I'm actually finding this is my second or third time trying to film this. It was such a good book. It's very fun. It's a very quick read, and I just love Eve so much. She changes a lot across the course of the trilogy, and like in the first book that I mentioned, this Heart of Iron, that Anna really had to find herself. This one has to find herself even more. I'm not going to say why. You would find out at the end of this book. But I highly recommend this one. Jay Kristoff writes great sci-fi. I have another Jay Kristoff book on here, and we're going to talk about that next. So here is Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is a great trilogy. I still have to read the last book. This is another series that I want to prioritize finishing this year. So this is about Tyler, and he just graduated the space cadet program, and he's being sent on his first mission, and he is the captain and gets assigned a terrible crew of people because he was late to the ceremony where they get their team. So they start to go on their mission, and they end up rescuing this girl, Aurora, who was kind of just floating through space. She was in cryogenic sleep, and she really doesn't remember what's going on. And I'm just going to read like this little part of the summary for you. Aurora is a girl out of time and out of her depth, but she could be the catalyst for a war millions of years in the making, and Tyler's squad of losers, disciplined cases, and misfits might just be the last hope for the entire galaxy. Where this book goes, I just remember like the end of this book and all of book 2, where it goes is actually insane. This has the found family trope, which is always a great trope for a book, and you fall in love with these characters so much. They're funny, they're witty, they're loving, you very quickly care for them, and very quickly they are also ripped away from you. I highly recommend this. This is a great trilogy. Lastly, we have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, because apparently I can't do a recommendation video without Brandon Sanderson in it. So this is a story about Spencer, and she wants to be a pilot so bad, and in this book, pilots are the last hope for humanity against like the alien invasion, basically. She wants to be a pilot, but she is the daughter of a coward. Her father was a pilot and abandoned his team and was killed for it. So she got labeled the daughter of a coward, and they don't want to put her into the flight academy because of that. They are scared that if her dad did it, she'll do it too. So Spencer wants to prove herself, and she finds this cavern with a long lost secret. And that's all I'm going to say about it. That's all I'm going to say about the plot. It goes from there, and there is this thing called a doom slug in here, and it's really cute and deadly, and I love it. This book was just so good. This is another found family, becomes a found family type series, and Spencer is just very headstrong, and she wants to prove everyone wrong, and I love that about a character. I love when they're just kind of like, haha, screw you, I'm going to show you. And that's basically what Spencer is. I love the world in this. These sci-fi aspects are really fun and really cool, and everything is described in such a neat way that, like, Brandon Sanderson always describes things so perfectly that you can very clearly see it in your mind. And I feel like that's something that's really hard to do with sci-fi because it's so technical, but he does a really great job of it. So those are 6 young adult science fiction books that I like to recommend. If you like this video, like and subscribe down below and come back for more. Bye, guys.